Okay, it is a Sunday to remember, the Sunday after Labor Day. And because we have to wait for Instagram, I'm going to pretend to slurp my coffee.
Uh
I said it silently that time.
you
Okay,
you,
and now we should be
you
on
did
even Instagram. I don't know if we're on TikTok, but I don't speak Chinese.
it
Anyways,
says it's sending the data, unable to connect. I don't know what's going on there. All right, you want to start the show, Gary?
I think that, yeah, absolutely. All right,
Um,
it is
in my soul, marijuana in my heart.
he has the buttons. I can't help it. I can't help it. We are all semi-professionals here. Don't try this at home. We are the rotation, and it is the Sunday after Labor Day, which that means that we are fully. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, we are fully into the candidates run for the general election. This usually Labor Day is the day that they really jump in full swing onto the generals. The primaries are all over with. The conventions are all over with, and now it's time to act like the running of the bulls all the way up until November the 5th. So we have some fantastic candidates we're going to be reviewing over the next couple of weeks. We have a fantastic one here, so let's get into it. My name is Gary Stein. I'm your political director for Suncoast Normal and our master of public health. Carlos, the applause button.
I hit it. You didn't hear it? Here, maybe I need to turn up the. Is it better? I gotta like turn it down because
I don't
like
know, it sounds like a
you
fountain to
listen
me.
to that sounded
And
like a fountain. I hate this board.
okay, anyways, and to my left, your right possibly, our deputy director, Carlos Angel Armida.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for having
Calm
to.
down.
He's also our engineer and our master of business administration. And in absentia today is our executive director, Chris Kano, who is up there in Maryland, living above the Beltway where he hits him below the Beltway. But right now his baby has a fever, so he's offered to Johns Hopkins. So we wish his baby well. It can't be easy for him at somebody at his age being a young father, but what the heck? I've done it. It can be done. And below us right now is our fabulous guest for today. I think our very first Ladina candidate we actually had a chance to get on board. For those of you who don't know what a Ladina is, that is a person of the Sephardic ancestry who used to live in a Hispanic country, now living in this country and still being Jewish, which is a fabulous way to handle things.
Love it.
I like that. I remember going to like Spain and seeing like all the Jewish ghettos there. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
I lived
Jackie,
in
you
yeah. Sorry. I lived
go
in
ahead.
I lived in Curacao at one point, and Curacao is actually the oldest, has the oldest synagogue in the Western Hemisphere.
Yay!
Okay, so
Well, welcome, Jackie Kellogg.
thank you so much.
Now, in spite of being Jewish and Spanish, uh, do you put salami in your Cuban sandwiches?
When I ate Cuban sandwiches in high school after doing soccer practice for 3 hours and playing scrimmages and games, I would eat everything and anything. So now,
Well, I mean, this is an unfair point though,
yeah.
because as you're very well aware, Gary, this lovely young lady is from South Florida, who's actually they actually got the Cuban sandwich right, as opposed to the people who here in Tampa who gentrified, if you will, the Cuban sandwich. Yeah,
I've heard this.
you're not aware about this, Jackie? Oh my God!
I have actually, and I've been to Tampa Bay a few times, and I think I did eat this sandwich because it's supposed to be this, the best. I
It's
don't
not,
know.
though. It's not though. It's so in
It's about the
Tampa.
bread. It's about the bread.
It's about the bread, but there's also the salami side of things. So in Tampa, they put salami in the Cuban sandwiches. You know that?
I didn't. For me, it's about the Swiss cheese and the pickle and the bread.
Yeah. All that's what it
That's
should be
got
about. You know, a
the
nice
bite.
marinated lechon, some ham,
Yeah.
some Swiss cheese, a pickle, bread.
And I'm not a fan of French's mustard. I like a better quality mustard. So I'm already messing up the whole sandwich, so it doesn't matter.
The Cuban sandwich, Jackie. We'll talk more about your candidacy
Yeah.
for office
Let's just
in a moment here.
let's talk
But
about this.
the Cuban sandwich, you can follow the Cuban sandwich by following the cigar industry here in Florida. You see, the Cubans first went over to Key West to start, and the same people that started the cigar industry here in Tampa. There was Vicente Ibor and this guy Haya that started that started the industry, and they needed a cheap food for the cigar workers, so they put together these sandwiches that were reminiscent of sandwiches back in Cuba. And then the cigar industry failed. There was no railroad going down to Key West. These damn business guys didn't even think about that. So the cigar industry failed there, and it ended up here in Ybor City, where the soon Italians migrated over here, and we started seeing Italian bread and salami being used with these sandwiches.
Okay.
And they started calling it a mixto, which makes sense because it's a mixture of Italian and Cuban culture. But the Italians here in Tampa were like, you know what? We invented Cuban sandwiches. These are Cubans. So it bothers me quite a bit. And seeing how you're running for office, I was wondering if you could tell me what you plan on to do about these third generation Italians here in Tampa that are stealing my culture.
You know that I think that it's like Tex-Mex. It's like everything, you know. If it,
I was just fucking around with you.
Right. I don't know.
This
you
is
know,
a
when
subject
you start going into territory about Cuban anything, like it's I just I'm not going there.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But there's certain debates that have long been running between me and Gary, and the Cuban sandwich thing.
Well, you guys have to
that's
come
not
to
really
Miami
a debate. He
and
likes to
see what
mess
you
with me
think.
about it.
Okay.
But another one that he likes to mess with me about is that the word marijuana is racist. Did you know that?
I had no. Well, because it's a Spanish word, or why? I don't get it.
You
I know.
see, Gary, there's another Spanish person in front of you saying that it's a Spanish word.
Okay, you opened up the thing. It is not in and of itself a racist word. The way it was used in the United States was a racist word because the way that they made cannabis illegal in the United States was by vilifying it, by attaching it to the immigrants coming here from the wars with that were going on in the early 1900s, and everybody started immigrating up to the United States, and they're saying that the immigrants were taking over all American jobs. There was a lot of anti-Hispanic sentiment, and so when they decided to use the Hispanic common word at that point in time, which was marijuana, and saying, look, it's marijuana. Now, here in the United States, we knew of it as cannabis. It was in the pharmacopoeia of the United States as cannabis. But by calling it marijuana, it made it sound like it was a Mexican thing, and there was an anti-Mexican sentiment at the time. And so therefore, it was the anti-Mexican sentiment that made cannabis illegal in the first place in the United States.
Oh, I thought it had to do with the whole Harlem Renaissance.
Actually, there was a lot of stuff. Yeah. That is true.
It goes on with that too. Like a lot of the racism towards jazz musicians,
Yeah.
And I have a poster up here. I mean, I can try to see if I can move my camera so that you can see it. But I have a poster. Oh, that's the wrong way. Oh. All right, my camera's not freaking working.
It's acting kind of weird today.
I have a poster that up here that shows weird parties and wild orgies and things like that, and a lot of the symbolism is not like Spanish. It's not, you know what I mean. They don't have a Mexican gentleman trying to push marijuana on you. It's a guy with, he's wearing a suit, but he's injecting a vial of marijuana into a young
Wow.
lady, and he has like black features. He's got, the black features that you would have.
Mhm.
I guess I don't want to say out loud, but a big portion of that was the jazz musicians, and there, I mean, all the racism you can throw at marijuana was used for it. Um, yeah,
Well,
and
yeah, because the fear of integration, right? Of
I
mixing
I
together.
like this show. This show is like very informal. This is nice.
Well, just to throw in a little more weave, I've been told is the word, by taking the thing about the Italians and eventually getting to the topic we actually have to deal with, is the fact that there was an Italian family that lived in Ybor that was part of the major social elite called the Lacatas. And Romanza Licata, the mother, was very doting, and the father was very doting. But the kids, in part due to a lot of intermarriage within the family, had basically bipolar disorder, which they used to call at that point in time um, precox,
Hmm.
dementia precox. And this one kid had a terrible case of it that had hit him when he was like 17, 18 years old, Victor Licata. And he was being controlled at home uh, by using cannabis. And that actually helped him control his symptoms. And so his father would get the stuff for him and make certain he had it. But there was a crackdown in this area. And there was a, because somebody said that they were bringing cannabis to the little kids at the schools and things of that sort. So they buckled down on trying to prevent anybody from having access to it. He ran out, and Victor, to make a long story short, killed his family with an axe one night. And that was when he was totally off of his meds.
Hmm.
And of course, the good folks at the Bureau of Narcotics grabbed the file, and they called it part of their Gore files, and said that, look at this, cannabis drove this kid insane, made him a violent person, made him kill his family. It was exactly the opposite, but that's not the way they portrayed it. And then you actually, if you get a chance to watch Reefer Madness, they talk about it in a little bit by saying that there was a kid in Florida who killed his family with an axe. That was Victor Licata, and directly across the street from Carlos's studio is the big word Licata across the top of the building, because they happen to own that building, and they were a big social family at the time. And
And
but they
the house where it happened is like 2 blocks down from where I am right now.
Hmm.
And there's actually another building in front of that house called Licata Building. Right now, it's an Argentinian steakhouse.
Hmm.
It's not
Plot
which
thickens.
makes perfect sense. So we can blame the Italians for that too.
Yeah.
Just as a matter of fact. Although I'm not going to do that, because we're friends with the folks who have La Gazzetta, which is an excellent paper, first Italian, Spanish American paper in the United States,
Hmm.
and we go on from there.
you
But
try it.
absolutely, we need to discuss where you're coming from, Jackie. I know you're in a hot race right now in HD 113, and where is the delineations of House District 113?
Yeah, I have the map behind me, but I don't think you can see it. But anyway, it's a big part of it is where I live on the island of Key Biscayne. And then there's various causeways where nobody lives. And then there's Brickell, which is, it's a very, it's an area, it's pretty dense, a lot of condos and the finance district. And then we have some areas that are more traditional Miami, Little Havana, an area called Shenandoah, the roads, a little bit of North Coconut Grove, a little bit of unincorporated Coral Gables. So it's a mix, and I find myself anytime I talk to a group of people having to adjust my conversations, because it's a total it's a big swath of different interests, socioeconomic dynamics, and
Yeah, it really is. I'm originally from South Florida, and that's why I hold allegiance to that Cuban sandwich.
Okay.
And yeah, I was born in Kendall. I was raised in Pembroke Pines.
Aha.
That's a
Okay.
big variance of people that you just mentioned right
Yeah. So So did you go to Killian? Where'd you go to high school?
there. Flanagan.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I went to Coral Gables Senior High, and so did my three children. And yeah, I always say, like, I'm kind of like a sea turtle, came back to nest where I grew up. So,
Gary, I didn't even realize that you left this.
yeah, so went away for 10 years or so. Got a chance. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Got to live in Mexico City, Washington, D.C., Curacao, British Virgin Islands, popped into South Beach for a couple years, went back out, and then finally built our nest back here on the beaches of Key Biscayne. And
That's a heck of a way to avoid ice.
oh yeah, no, I'm an island person. In fact, spent the first 3 years of my life on Rapa Nui, which is also known as Easter Island. So,
But you came back to rest in beautiful South Florida, where the price of lox is higher than the price of grouper, which I think is important for me. Anyway.
I did not know. Okay.
So this is interesting because I actually probably like 20 years ago, something like that, I got arrested in your district for possession of marijuana.
This would be the place. Yeah. So did the guy from the Doors. What's his name? I forget.
Oh, really? Morrison?
Yeah, this was his big arrest right here in Miami.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think it was in Coconut Grove or the Marine Stadium. Yes, he was on stage. He flashed everybody. He got arrested for indecent exposure, and ultimately that was the case that made him leave the country.
I thought he got arrested for cannabis in the district.
It was probably that, but they arrested him for indecent exposure. I don't know.
So we find ourselves at a time, Jackie, you're running for office at a time where Amendment 3 is going through, and we were talking a little bit before the show about what's important, and cannabis is important to you, but abortion's a big deal as well going through Florida right now. We want to take a little bit of time today to talk about cannabis. I'm not sure if you're aware of what's going on in the state as far as medical marijuana is concerned. There's a lot of criticisms towards our medical marijuana industry. Right now, our medical marijuana industry is the third biggest in the United States, right, Gary? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
And so it's the third biggest in the United States. However, there's all these restrictions. It's not an open market. It's a vertically integrated market, meaning that the people who sell it have to have their hands on it from the beginning to the end. There's no people in this industry that are just growers. There's no people in this industry that are just retailers. True Leaf grows, sells, distributes their own cannabis, right? Which limits the licensing process, right? You can't grow at home. There's a number of issues, and Gary has a number of issues that he's written bills for, that he's tried to push, things like employment issues, things like that. Do you think we're ready for adult use cannabis? Do you think that we should fix our current medical system, or do you think that we should just go ahead and jump into adult use?
So basically I see and smell it everywhere, so it's already here. But in addition to that, personally, I mean, I spoke to Gary a little bit about this, is that we have a significant senior population in Florida, my father included, who would benefit from medicinal marijuana, and the problem is administering it to him is impossible. So I think he would, when he a lot of older people deal with anxiety and depression. And I think so. For example, the medication he's in now really slows down his ability to walk and speak and motivation, for example, to do the physical therapy and engage in interesting things that I know he loves, literature, film, playing cards. And so it's frustrating to know that he is highly medicated with some, serious medications, clonazepam, trazodone, verapamil, all this stuff. And I think he would benefit from the right kind of marijuana, but no one can administer it to him. So that's personal for me. But other than that, I do have 3 young adult children, and like a lot of what what a lot of people don't understand is legalizing marijuana would actually put a better product on the streets, or a product to purchase, or a product to access. And so I think that that's just the reality of the situation.
It's hard to deny 2 things that Amendment 3 would do: the legalization, this legalization amendment that we're voting for. First off, safer marijuana than what you would find on the black market. I'm not going to go and say that that marijuana is laced with fentanyl or anything. That's fake. But there's a lot of moldy marijuana and crappy marijuana that's out on the street. And then it would end a lot of arrests. It would end quite a bit of arrests. I would particularly be interested in ending the arrests in South Florida, because that's where I got arrested. You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you think about ending the arrests over there in your district?
Oh yeah, we have way more serious things to arrest people for
Right.
In our district than marijuana. I mean, I think it sometimes it's how do you say, like, yeah, I do think that there's a certain element of racism connected to the arrest of people using marijuana. I kind of, that's what you see in the newspaper. That's what I hear about, and that concerns me. But at the same time, I say, like, I can be walking down the beach, I can be driving with my windows open, which I like to do because it's South Florida, and that's all I smell. So people are using it all over, and I just think that's just a reality check that we need to deal with. I mean, I've always been in favor of legalization. I know it would cut down on violent crime and a lot of the crime syndicates that are pushing the market underground. So it's a complicated situation with a long history, but it's actually not that complicated. I think we should just start with legalization of marijuana, and everything will adjust itself the same way. The same stipulations apply to alcohol. You don't drive drunk. You shouldn't drive stoned. You can't maintain a job or different things. There's just things work for different people. Things make sense to me that maybe don't make sense to you. So I'm only speaking from my own experience. You know what I'm saying? So, but
I'm curious to find out what your reaction would be. Your response would be to DeSantis's response to the amendment. The first response that he had, he's talked lately about how, like, True Leaf sponsored it, and it's and that's not really what I'm interested in hearing what you're saying, but he was, like, particularly against legalization because of the smell. And because it would be everywhere, and here you are saying it's here already, dude. What's your response to DeSantis there?
Usually usually there's my intuition tells me that there's usually somebody in his ear, probably a donor with a lot of money, saying that they don't like the smell of marijuana or something, because he just like recently was probably some donors saying, wouldn't it be great to have, golf courses in your beautiful state parks? So it's
Be like, yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, and then the pushback was like, what? And I always tell people, yeah, when you have a supermajority Republican Party running Tallahassee, yeah, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get these random notions and implementations that the majority of Floridians don't agree with. So I would say the majority of Floridians are already in agreement with the legalization of marijuana. There is probably a smaller percentage that doesn't like the smell, doesn't want it at their, golf courses, resorts, whatever, but it's here. And I think that if it's regulated, it'll be a safer product and all the other things that you know very well. And you just have to, deal with it like adults.
Anybody who's ever gone to a golf course knows that they like to go out there and fucking smoke weed. All of those
playing golf or just people.
Yeah, that's what all the conservatives that go and play out and play golf out there. All they're trying to do is go out into the middle of the field and kind of like separate themselves so they can they're not interested in hitting a tiny ball into a hole. They're more interested in having a beer with their buddies and smoking a little weed out in the field.
Now, can I just say that anytime I hear a policy initiative that involves golf courses, usually has something to do with Trump. I'm just saying, it's
right?
Just a possibility. And yet he came out this last week with this statement that he's all for Amendment 3, and I call insincerity on this one. You can call it BS, whatever you want to call it. But the fact is, people don't turn on a dime when it comes to policies like this. He has never been in favor of cannabis, not even a little bit. I mean, they said that first off, he had family with substance abuse that died. I don't know how much he cares about his damn family in the first place. But the fact he's always been a teetotaler, he doesn't drink. He's not in favor of cannabis. Yeah, all of a sudden he said, "Oh, something? It's a good idea." I think that is strictly a politically advantageous move. I don't think he actually means it. Sometimes you have to see what people do versus what they actually say. And that's why I call BS on this. I'm actually grateful, and you're going to smack me for saying this, that he went ahead and actually said that, because he has a lot of voters who only think in segments. And so if they hear that segment, they'll go out and they'll vote for it, which I guess is a good thing. But the bottom line is, if he gets in office, he's not going to do anything to move it forward. He has no intention of moving it forward.
Hold on there, Gary. I think.
Okay, here it comes.
I think you're being a little unfair there. Okay.
Okay.
Because let's face it. We've never seen a more cannabis friendly president than Donald Trump. I will have you know that Donald Trump signed the Farm Bill back in 2018. The 2018 Farm Bill legalized.
He's channeling our trolls, just so you know.
Marijuana is already legal. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. That's just the dumbest thing.
I know. We get it all the time. And the fact is, the Farm Bill was 1,800 pages. I mean, Project 2025 is only 900 pages, and I don't think he's read that either. So I doubt that he had actually anything to do with the Farm Bill. That was strictly spearheaded by Mitch McConnell and the Agricultural Committee. And to say that he actually knew what was actually in that bill is inconceivable. The fact is, it did make cannabis legal to an extent as far as hemp is concerned. It opened up the hemp market, and the hemp market figured out how to change the hemp market into a cannabis market that actually used more euphoric strains other than just CBD. And so things have changed. But to say that he is actually all for cannabis and has been all that time is just a talking point.
I don't know.
I don't know if you heard like the recording that was taped of him talking to Robert Kennedy Jr. about his anti-vaccine stance. I think he just says, he has no. I think he lacks profound empathy and he has no problem saying whatever he needs to say to win margins here and there. I think he's a very dangerous person, and so you know, I'm adamantly for Kamala Harris. So
But just so
yeah,
you know, Jackie, I am not a Republican, and I am voting for Kamala. By the way,
yeah, I
but
just gotta make that clear.
we
And
definitely get trolled. There seems to be a I don't know, some form of Republican, right? Some, and
well,
cannabis has never been like a partisan issue. There's always been Republicans that
it's
are
big
for
business. There's a
cannabis.
lot of money to be
Yeah.
made, and that's I think what
Oh yeah.
you know
And then there's
attracting
the whole
people.
libertarian side of things where it's like, we smaller government, we don't need to be in your business. We don't we legalize all drugs. But we get a lot of trolls saying that we're more liberal and we push liberal ideas because we have liberal people on the show, and it just
Well,
so
maybe
happens
that's
that
like the history of
yeah.
marijuana, as we were talking about before. You know, it was like promoted
Exactly.
desegregation and happy
There's
people and out of the box thinking. I don't know.
the
All of those
truth
things.
is that the gamut of liberals that are for legalization, it would be pretty hard to have all of those guys on the show, but we've done a good job of getting the Republicans that are for legalization on our show already. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
2 weeks
I
ago we had Joe Gruters on, and he
yeah,
has come out in favor of Amendment 3. I mean, it
even the
helps.
minute that he eats edibles on our show and goes on vacation to a legal area and eats edibles with his wife.
Now, he didn't actually go and eat edibles on our show.
No.
Mhm.
He was talking about eating edibles while on the show. And I have no doubt that he and Matt Gaetz had a good time somewhere.
So maybe that's the notion that you should be fabulously wealthy and have your edibles and marijuana on a luxury island somewhere or someplace where it's just for special people and not everybody. So there's definitely, I think, probably a movement on capitalizing and monetizing, marijuana to the utmost.
Now we
And,
have
and that's what I see. That's definitely what I see the difference when a politician who's conservative and for legalization and that's the problem we have here in Florida is that it's how these industries get implemented, right? So the problem here in Florida, I listed them all beginning of the show, where it's vertically integrated system, you can't grow at home, blah 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 blah, right? You can't get a license, blah 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 blah. And that comes from electing the wrong people. There was no law that said that we couldn't do that. It was politicians that, and it just so happened politicians like Matt Gaetz that put something like that in there.
Well, what do you think of that notion that it's been around since I was a teenager? It's a gateway drug. That I mean, that was obviously invented by the you know
Well, what's funny is that there's liberals in Florida that specifically in our Senate, Osgood and Rasan, that believe that cannabis is actually a gateway drug. The Rusan is known for his headshot bills and stuff like that, where he can't say bong in a headshot because of Rusan.
Mm.
And Senator Osgood, during the whole hemp bill thing, voted against the hemp industry because she said that it could be a gateway drug. She felt that if she voted for our hemp industry, to keep the hemp industry around, Floridians would be eating out of dumpsters and smoking crack.
Hmm.
What do I feel about the notion of the gateway theory? I think it's utter and complete bullshit. I think it's actually cannabis could be used as an exit drug and could be used to get people off of these hardcore drugs. But that is not
Agree.
what the majority of politicians in our state feel.
Well, there is one way that cannabis is a gateway drug, in that if you buy it from your corner plug, they get the guy who sits underneath the gym shoes hanging over the wire and things of that sort. he has more than just cannabis in his bag to sell you. And he will make certain that he builds that sale to include whatever else he has, whatever pills he has, whatever powders he has that are not cannabis. He'll recommend that as well. And so therefore, if you go there just wanting to buy a pre-roll and you end up coming home with a gram of crack, that is the method of that legacy market. I'm not saying that everybody is like that. There are some people out there who are strictly on the street selling just cannabis and have a great love for the plant itself and actually put love into the cultivation, and they sell their own stuff. But they are not in the They are not in the majority. They are in the minority.
This
And
one
that's,
time, my plug was lived in a gated community, and I had to go through a gate in order to go buy weed, and that's how marijuana was a gateway drug. That
was
sounded
the
funnier. That sounded funnier in my head.
was the code 420 by any chance to get into the gate?
69, 69, 69. Unfortunately,
That makes perfect sense. But the bottom line is, one thing that the Amendment 3 will do is, again, try to regulate the market to make certain that all the adult use product that is out there is tested and is as pure, is potent,
Yeah.
and as what it's supposed to do. Because right now we have a lot of people out there who take a lot of chances. Unfortunately, we also have a lot of MMTCs who don't live up to their own standards. We have a number of MMTCs, and I'm not going to mention their names here because they know who they are, and we're watching you. But the
True.
fact is, they will take product that has got mold on it, and they'll burn the mold off to make concentrates and things of that sort. But that doesn't kill the spores.
Hmm.
And so you do have product out there that is not as pure as it should be, because they're willing to take those kind of shortcuts to get a product with a higher profit margin, because they don't put as much love and money into making actually cultivating it. But that's part of the
Yeah.
situation we have with the
Concerning.
vertical integrated thing, where you, in order to sell the product, you actually have to grow the product and then go all the way through to sale. That's kind of like if Keebler had to grow their own wheat to make crackers, and they only sell it in Keebler kiosks that they own inside of all of the supermarkets. That is not a market that works. And
Right.
then it doesn't make much sense, not for the cannabis market, not for anybody else. Plus, it makes it so that if you want to be in the market, you have to be a multimillionaire. As
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Jeff Brandis even said, it takes a minimum of $40 million to $50 million to get your own store there, and the average mom and pop does not have that. And so therefore, it eliminates anybody who's not a millionaire and quite a few minority businesses, and that includes minority, both racial and everything else. And so therefore, we're trying to find a way to changing that. And so I
Yeah.
am going to be introducing a bill for people to file this year to make certain that if we do have adult use cannabis, that we break that vertical system. Because right now, the way the bill is written, it's handing the market strictly to the people who are already in the business right now with their vertically integrated businesses.
Mhm.
And that's not helping.
I would agree that if profit is the motivator to get into this business, for a product that's supposed to actually, and why I get behind it is to help people, right? Many people who are dealing with everything from anxiety, depression, um, insomnia, different things. If it's supposed to be beneficial to their mental and well-being, if you want to get people who are in the cannabis business that have that same type of understanding and empathy, and not just purely profit-driven motivations.
yes,
Well,
you're absolutely right, Jackie. But I'll even take it a step further than what you said. But not only should people who love the plant be involved in the business, but people who were arrested for selling the plant before,
Yeah.
not uh, uh, the plug that Gary was talking about that was selling cocaine too, but the guy that he mentioned that was love the plants, just has a marijuana charge, should have that expunged.
Yeah.
now, one of
I
your
would,
heroes,
I would,
Carlos, is a
I would,
gentleman who had I'm sorry, the San Francisco Cannabis Buyers Club, and that was all about the
Dennis Perone.
patient and not profit at that time, correct?
Yeah, Dennis Perone.
Hmm.
It was the first dispensary that ever existed. Was came about because Dennis Perone realized that his partner, who had HIV, marijuana helped him more than anything else that
Mm,
you could find in any of the AIDS buyers club in San Francisco. So they opened up the Cannabis Buyers Club, which was really the first dispensary in 1992. And literally, they were like, just, I mean, what they had was they basically had like, I think it was called a memo from the city saying that they weren't going to seek out arrests of people using marijuana for medical purposes.
mm.
So they opened this place up and they got arrested a lot. They got arrested a lot just because they knew it was medicine. That.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, and I just wanted to add that I've had, personally a few people very close in my life who've dealt with cancer, and marijuana has helped them towards the end of with their pain and towards the end of their life. But it was because family and friends obtained it for them, through something edible. I remember my friend had like this butter she used to like on her toast. And anyway, it's sad. Like I just got a text message from my sister because my dad did go to the emergency room this morning, because what happens is when you're at his age, if you have a hard time breathing, that kind of mimics anxiety, right? So it makes him have like a major panic attack, and then he thinks he's having a heart attack or something. And so again, like, I wish he could just reach for a gummy, but instead they call 911. So
Now he's in ALF right now. Is that correct?
yes,
Now,
he,
one of the issues
he's
we are dealing with.
actually in Key West, so he can live the remainder of his life as a Jewish pirate that he is. But it's tough being that far away from him.
He's going to the emergency room right now.
Yeah, he's there right now, and
Do you need to
it's
go?
what?
Do you need to go?
I mean, it's 4 hours away, so I have a whole system in line. So, and I'm just saying, like, usually it's that a lot of older people have a hard time breathing, wear and tear on your lungs and your heart, etc. And then when it can mimic panic, right? So you then when you're panicking like that, then it's even harder to breathe. And so, like I'm saying, I wish he just had something that could just take the edge off, and he wouldn't have to they wouldn't have to call 911 or give him stronger medication, which doesn't allow him to improve physically, because you need to move. Like, that's the best thing for anxiety with older people. You have to move. You got to get out to sunshine. You've got to just walk and move.
Well, if
So
I could show off my Israel knowledge here,
mm,
I happen to I happen to know that they keep vaporizers at the bedside in hospitals in Israel.
aha.
Um, and I would believe specifically for these kinds of purposes, just
Well,
help calm down the patients and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, in Israeli nursing homes, it is a standard of care over there, as a matter of fact. And they came from an aspect of tikkun olam, basically of creating a product that will help treat the world, not just an individual patient. And so, therefore, it was not all a matter of profit. It was a matter of making certain that they actually had to, at first, had to bring in the product from Greece. So they were getting supply from there. Now they're actually producing product for Greece. Israel has its own batch of problems right now because they have an insane prime minister who should not be in office right now. I've never thought in my world, and I'm going to get off on a tangent here if I can't help it. I never thought in my lifetime that an attack on Israel would make people anti-Semitic. But Netanyahu found a way of doing it, and he should go to Helm. Just saying. Anyways, going past that,
yeah.
the point is that ALFs in this country have a problem when it comes to cannabis is concerned, because they have a lot of Medicare patients, and they have a lot of ALFs and things of that sort who feel that if they take federal money when cannabis is still federally illegal, that they should not allow it in there. That is why I wrote a bill, which is a bill to protect medical patients in the state of Florida. So if they're in an institution like an ALF or a hospital, they can't take their medicine away because officially in this state, it is legal. And it should not affect the Medicare or Medicaid situation. And that also includes people on the transplant list. Right now, if you're on a transplant list and they find out that you have a medical card, they will take you off the transplant list because they feel that your survivability is lower when you're on cannabis. Fact is, it's exactly the opposite. It's an anti-inflammatory, and so therefore you have a greater chance for survivability when you're on cannabis as opposed to the other way around. So we are fighting to make certain that people in ALFs do get access to the plant. And we have so many ALFs here in the state of Florida, with and without air conditioning in South Florida, that need to be taken care of.
And I think a lot of elderly people too need a little help in improving their appetite. And that can be helpful. And I mean, nutrition is ultimately so important. So if you can improve the appetite and offer healthy food, because I see many reaching for like just, like sugary things, right? Cakes and cookies and sugary starches and not healthy food because they don't have a healthy appetite. So,
well, the
monetizing the elder care. What can I say?
A lot of seniors do prefer to have edibles for increasing their appetite. And that means that, guys, you can't just keep on building edibles strictly on isolates. You have to use full spectrum. You have to have all of the various terpenes and things of that sort in the chocolate, not just isolated THC. So you get it right, and you'll have a product that people can use medically. That's the medical program here. Hopefully, it will continue to evolve. I am worried that if we do have adult use, that they're going to cannibalize the medical program because of the fact that you won't have to go to a doctor and spend a couple $100 to get your card every year and things of that sort. But that's one of these issues we have to deal with the legislature once they go back in session, whether or not Amendment 3 passes or not. If it doesn't pass, we still got plenty of issues we got to deal with as far as the medical program is concerned. You mentioned, in fact, employment. Right now, you can be denied employment because of having a medical card. You can be denied having a transplant. You can actually have your kids taken away, even if you're using it to be a better parent, because it removes your symptoms of PTSD or whatever. The DCF, and I was watching that awful documentary. Awful isn't the topic, not the filming. Take Care of Maya, where basically we have an issue here in the state of Florida as well in regards to how DCF approaches families where you have issues in the family itself, and you can have your kids taken away because somebody has a medical cannabis card. And the bill that I wrote basically says that cannabis use alone should not be the reason for having your kids taken away. And that works very, very well in Pennsylvania, by the way. And we're hoping we can move this forward. And I'm certain that we can do it on a bipartisan basis. And of course, if we do Amendment 3, it'll also open up the market to our visitors, to the people who come here as tourists. However, right now in the state of Florida, there is a public use ban, and the Republicans especially are actually interested in moving a public use ban in part to, they say, getting rid of this smell. I mean, yeah, there is a problem in certain areas. Maybe it should be secluded to certain areas so people can go to areas where they don't have cannabis smell.
Smoking, like smoking already is, right? You
exactly. I mean, I can tell you that I've gone into Ybor City in the morning to get on the show when I'm all the way out there, and they're hosing down the streets. Otherwise, there's this definite smell of alcohol and urine in the various streets of Ybor.
Yeah, I'll take marijuana over alcohol and urine smell. That's for sure.
I love New Orleans.
You should do like a blind test, and you could spray that, and you could just do like, which smell would you prefer, and just let's have the election based on that.
Okay, Carlos, that's a good idea. Set it up in your shop. Have one little vial of terpenes and one vial of urine and alcohol, and spray it in the air and see what people would prefer.
That's the reality. I mean, you go to South Beach every time, go to the parking garage. It's it's
Is
disgusting.
your district include South Beach?
No, it doesn't.
He's like,
And I shouldn't just out them. I mean, it's just wherever there's kind of like, like outside of like any kind of like club or something like that.
South Beach is crazy. I've never ever gone to a restaurant, spent $20 on a corned beef sandwich and $10 for the fries. I've never seen that anywhere other than South Beach.
That's everywhere. But I would say, yeah, like that. Okay, this is how I think of it. It's like you're paying for the view of the ocean, right?
I
And the
I know
the
you guys are talking
experience.
about South Beach, but I'm like
And
thinking about
I don't if I go to South Beach, which I love, like every Mother's Day, I love having this like, breakfast on Ocean Drive. And I just enjoy, like, you get the whole vibe. Like, okay, back to our Jewiness, back to like the 80s when it was the God's waiting room, and people came and spent their last years on South Beach in their little,
Century Village.
not even Century Vision. Like these old Art Deco little apartments. You could walk to the ocean, and I mean that it's like the whole vibe I love, and that's why I'll pay, I don't know, $50 for eggs Benedict, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about people coming into my store and they're like, "Okay, come over here and smell these vials." And he's like,
I'm a very, like, I have a
smell this
very
one, it's weed.
strong.
Smell this one, it's piss."
No, I'm serious. Like for me, that's my thing. Like that smells. Like there's a lot of perfumes I really don't like, and things like that.
I hate perfume. Perfume, honestly,
Most perfumes like
give
just
me a
really,
headache.
I don't know. But like I would say my reaction to like old, urine and booze compared to marijuana that can have different notes to it, definitely.
I also
Most
have to
people
make
would
a
pick.
confession. I ate an edible before the show, and 51 minutes into the 52 minutes into the show, things are funnier than they should.
Okay. Well, I think we're on to something. Anyway, but no, speaking of that, oh my gosh, you guys have kept me way over my time.
All right. I'm sorry that it's been a great conversation, Jackie. I have one more question for you. Have you ever smoked marijuana?
Did I grow up in the 80s in Miami? Of course. Yes. And in addition, I would say that I'm also known as a key rat. And that was like a rite of passage. So yes, and anyone my age who denies otherwise is a liar. So yeah, that's what key rats are known for. I think that we were unfairly all called potheads and stoners. I think that we just all, dabbled a little bit, some more than others. But in the end, that was the reputation of growing up on Key Biscayne. Key rat potheads.
And one last thing.
I also went to a very liberal Quaker school, and we had an annual event called Serendipity. So there you go.
One last thing. I know that we've kept you for a long time, and I know that you got family stuff you got to get to. So just go ahead, look into the camera, tell people who you are, how they can get a hold of you, and how they can help you out.
Sure. My name is Jackie Gross-Kellogg. I am running as a Democrat for Florida House District 113. If you're in my neighborhood, reach out to me through my website, jackie4florida.com, or email me or Instagram. You can find me. Love to hear from you, and let's talk. I offer everybody my homemade banana bread that is free of it is not, I don't know what you call it. It's not medicinal banana bread.
I just love banana bread.
And it just really good. I have to say, I make a serious banana bread, carrot cake, and bagels. If I go to Tampa, I will make bagels for you, and we'll have a good time.
Nice.
You almost sound vegan there. Vegan?
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 No way. Not. I mean, I don't think you have like okay, let's sidetrack. I don't think you have to be vegan to be mindful. Like for example, you can buy pasture raised eggs, right? There's just things that you can do to be conscious of avoiding like animal factory food. So that's my take. So can you put me on the vegan show sometime if you have contacts? We can talk.
Absolutely. Now, you don't actually, your district does not include Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, right?
No, that's Broward, and yeah, I know now. Yeah, oh, it's a new school year, a new school shooting, right? Yeah,
And that was there with
Georgia.
Jared Moskowitz's district at one point in time. I wasn't certain with redistricting whether that meshed with 113.
No, that's in Broward. So yeah.
Okay, I can tell you that.
But I mean, I'm going to say I've spent my whole life in Miami-Dade, and the gun violence associated with drugs is been horrible, and has I've lost schoolmates and people and neighbors, and so yes, I just know the reality of the situation. So another factor in my consciousness.
Somebody asked me this week if I thought that cannabis would have fixed the situation that occurred over in this last week, and I said no, it will not. I mean, number one, because the shooter was a 14-year-old, and we don't believe in free access to kids under the age of 21, which is why even in Carlos's shop, people under the age of 21 can't come in and make any kind of purchase whatsoever. So saying it's all about the kids and all that, but kids don't have access. Kids have access to the illegal market. Make the illegal market legal, they probably won't access it. In fact, we have various things that various research things that show that cannabis use in teenagers actually goes down when in legal areas. So it won't fix that situation. It will fix the situation in regards to other folks who might get drunk and start shooting people up. But this is not. People do not grab a pre-roll and say, "I want to get angry and shoot somebody." It doesn't happen that way.
You're right about that.
I think mushrooms might have helped this shooter situation. Mushrooms and a little bit of therapy.
A lot of therapy in this.
And just the amount of guns, and we need to ban assault weapons. So there you go. Yeah, I don't understand why people need to have those kinds of guns in their homes.
Now you're running against Vicky Lopez, who I think is Cuban, correct?
I'm not really sure, honestly. I really don't know. It's a name from Spain, so I don't know if she's from.
Well, it's an interesting dichotomy over there in regards to the Jewish population and the Spanish population, but you're the mixture of both. So
I am. I always say I'm like there was this really long time bakery in Coral Gables called Andalusia Bakery, and it was like you'd go in and you'd find all your favorite Jewish cookies, Spanish cookies, like all breads and rye breads and everything, and that's kind of like how I am. And so, and now I married this man from Nebraska, so my kids are now like even more mixed. So, but that's America, yay! So,
see, I thought it would have been coming from Battle Creek, Michigan.
No, he's from Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I think the black sheep went there. The ones that were like maybe cut out. I don't know. They seem to be all there in the factories, in the Kellogg factory, and I don't know. Like I always say, he's okay. This is my husband says, and it's really stupid. I'd have to kill a lot of people, and that would make me a serial killer.
And how do people get a hold of you if they want to help out your campaign?
Yeah,
within HD 113.
Yeah, I put my email under there, and most people contact me through social media. At Jackie for Florida. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but I think Instagram has been very popular. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can. So.
Okay, vaya con salud.
Gracias.
And hopefully you'll have your victory party at the Fountain Blue, which is a very nice place.
Well, that's out of my district, so I'll invite you wherever that is. So.
They have it on the Versailles.
Probably my living room. All right, guys, because ciao, thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Oh, she used Italian at the end there.
Salud.
No, ciao,
Ciao.
ciao, bella.
Don't they say ciao in Spain? Where's she from again?
Well, she was from a lot of places, including Curacao. But she was a Key rat. The interesting thing about Key West, guys, for those of you who don't know too much about the island, it is the southmost part of the entire United States. In order to get there, you have to go on this thing called the Causeway, which you start out in Miami, you get on the Causeway, you think you're going to be in Key West in a few moments. You've been driving and driving and driving. All of a sudden, you're still in damn Marathon, which is halfway there. And you keep on driving and driving, and eventually, you get to Key West, and it's difficult.
No, I've never actually been to Key West. I haven't made it all the way down that highway. Gone as far as Marathon.
It's driving and driving and driving with just ocean on one side and Gulf on the other, and just keep on going. And
Well, Kano typically does the news. Do you have any news that you want to talk about?
well, I did discuss the fact that the big promotion that Trump did, that's a biggie. I didn't actually prepare for it because I didn't know he wasn't going to be here. But
you knew that Trump wasn't going to be on the show today.
I know that Trump was going to be on. We sent him an invitation. We haven't got the answer back yet. Maybe I should have done it through Truth Social, huh?
I mean, on it, maybe I should have done it through Truth. Although he started tweeting again. Let's see
Lovely.
Has he responded?
Not to me, anyway. Maybe he'll just walk in the store one of these days, right? I'm certain that he frequents all of the smoke shops in Florida when he's not in New Jersey or in a courtroom.
I would really like to see him on the show. I think I think no Republican could ever talk shit about our show ever again. They might even start like kind of wanting to push us to run for office, don't you think? Be like, you talk to Trump, you could probably be good Secretary of State.
Yeah, I think Minority is actually going for that spot because he did actually put out saying thank you, Trump, for promoting Amendment 3. Mike, you be you.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be on a panel with him this week on Amendment 3 that is sponsored by the Black Chamber of Commerce in the state of Florida.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was interesting because they actually asked both you and I for quotes for the article in Creative Loafing. They took yours, they didn't take mine, but the lady who's in charge of the thing actually took my talking points and said they were coming from her. So that's fine. She may have actually thought that way in the first place. I don't know.
Well, she asked you to be on the panel. She didn't ask me to be on the panel.
Yeah, that's true. But that's because I'm better looking.
And it's probably because she's like, I can make this guy sound smart if I can punch up his lines a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotta punch the lines up.
Yeah.
And it's available. I believe it's being streamed as well as if you want to go to where is it? It's in South Florida. It's South Hillsborough County. Over in Gibsonville or right around there. But at one of the VFW halls. So we can put up the thing on our suncoastnormal.org so you can go ahead and check that out. And there's a lot of programs going on right now. I know that Florida Can has been pushing a lot of things in regards to education, in regards to Amendment 3. Just so you know, our Suncoast Normal is in favor, but we know that if it does go through, there's going to be a lot of legislative work that has to get done. We're going to have to work on making certain that if public use is strengthened as far as being illegal, that even though that it is legal to possess it, you won't be able to use it in public. And that's an important point because that gives people a chance to arrest you, regardless of how much you own. You can actually possess up to 3 ounces, but if you use a 1 gram pre-roll, you will be arrested. If you have 1 gram of concentrate, you will be arrested with a felony.
All right, let me ask you this though, because this is something that I heard that I was like, I didn't read that anywhere, but is it true that it's gonna have to be in packaging from a dispensary?
That will be up to the legislature when they go in favor. Right now, packaging is really shitty in the state of Florida. They are so worried about kids being attracted to packaging that they have made it so strictly you can only have white packaging with black letters,
Hey,
and that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I've got packaging from all over the country here somewhere. In, anyways, but the fact is, all over the country, they utilize packaging as advertising, which is what you do when you're in a competitive market. You make packaging attractive to adults. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and rob somebody else's copyright and pretend you're Hershey's or anything else or General Mills, but be creative, have beautiful packaging. I don't have my packaging here. Anyways, but the thing is, we'd love to have an open market here in Florida. By open market, I mean free market, so that people can be competitive. Right now, the competition is not quite there. We have only 22 licenses. We have one license that has 210 stores now,
yeah.
which means they have far more than half the things, and that does not make for a free market. And that it is just the way it is, and that's got to change. We have to allow some more small businessmen to get involved, at least in one aspect, either just cultivation or just edibles or whatever, and not just have everybody involved in vertical integration, because that's been the issue. And we also have to maintain the hemp market as it stands right now as well,
Yeah.
because that is the only way at this point in time that people can get access to the market who aren't millionaires. Now, you look at Carlos, you don't automatically think, dude, this guy's got cash. This is why he can work in Ybor and nobody bothers him, because nobody thinks he has a dollar on him, except for the fact he's got some decent Tampa Bay swag there on his head.
Tampa Bay hat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely authentic.
Does it have a little hologram thing on the side there to make certain we know it's not a knockoff?
That's a real Converse shirt too.
And that's a real Blind Tiger coffee. Blind Tiger, great coffee shop. Never bothered to give us a dime to promote their product, but Carlos uses their stuff all the time. Yeah. Me, I make my own cafe con leche, although I've been told that all the different Cuban brand coffees out there are owned by Smuckers. If it's with a name like Smuckers, it's got to be good. But the fact is, I would like to have real, authentic Cuban coffee. Scrumptious. I would like to drive a 1957 Chevy too, but I can't do that. Well, not be Cuban.
I hear the coffee in Cuba is actually not made from coffee, but brewed from oats now.
That would make
that's what happens.
That's the Smuckers entering in there, I would suppose.
That's what happens when you're a communist.
But if you are a candidate for office and you're in a hotly contested race, we want to give you some visibility. We want to get you to get a chance to say it doesn't make a difference whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're independent or libertarian, or even if you're his old roommate who used to, whatever his name was.
He wasn't my roommate. I had Chinese philosophy class with him.
Okay. Or the guy with the boot on his head, Vermin, whatever his last name is. I love libertarians. They're just basically performance art in politics. Are you getting a ticket? Carlos, we lost you for a second there.
It's a Harris Waltz convoy going by.
Oh, really? Is she in town?
You didn't see that?
I just saw that. I wasn't certain what that was. I thought it was one of those gang things where everybody has
whoa, Gary.
Well, it's keyboard.
Cool it down.
But if you are a candidate in a hotly contested race, we would like to have you on the show. And you can contact us at suncoastnormal.org or info@suncoastnormal.org and say, hey, we want to be on. Also, if you've gotten the survey in the mail, and every one of you have, fill it out. Let us know where you stand so we can go ahead and access you. There is a box on there saying, I would like to be on the rotation, and we'll be contacting you, because we'd like to have as many voices as possible so that people can make an educated choice come November the 5th. You as the voters have a task from now until November, and that is get yourself educated. And that means not just the federal races, but also the state and local races, and even the nonpartisan judge races, if they are in your district. and find out who you're voting for. Don't just Christmas tree your ballot. Know who you're voting for and make your vote count. And with that, I would also say if you want to help us out after the election and getting these appropriate amendments put on so that we can fix the program so that it works, so you are not affected as a medical patient or somebody who's trying to get a job, or if you want to have home grow, we have a bill for that as well. And we're going to need your help because we could not put it on this amendment as much as you would have wanted to have it on the amendment like other states have. In the state of Florida, you couldn't. So that's the bottom line. Anybody who says, I'm not going to vote for this because it has no home grow, it could never have home grow. So your argument there is fictitious. We could not, we have to be on a separate bill or do it legislatively. And to be honest with you, if we do have adult use legalized, it'll be easier for us to move through legislatively an adult use home grow bill. So think about that. Join us in the movement and get going. And that means if you see that QR code, it's right over there. Go ahead and snap it and go ahead and join Suncoast Normal so you can help us in Tallahassee make this happen. You'll get this fantastic gold pin, a great little card. You get a discount at Chillum if ever you're in Ybor City. A great place to go.
And we got a location in St. Pete.
Yeah, and we have, and you get free access to our events. Like we're coming up with another great Halloween event coming up in October prior to the election. We're hoping you'll get a chance to get involved in that as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a Halloween movie night.
Ooh, I wonder what movie we're going to show.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, we'll find out.
Here's the thing about guys like me and Gary. You see, me and Gary, you see us every week. We do this. We're here.
Gary and I.
Gary and me. Gary and I. Gary.
We're not part of the participle. We're in the beginning. If we're the subject, it's Gary and I.
You're a participle.
I am.
Gary
part-time.
And Kano. We don't take a salary for this. We don't get paid. As a matter of fact, a lot of this stuff comes out of our pocket. This, I guess it's safe to say that the rotation is sponsored by Chillum, because a lot of this stuff comes out of Chillum's pocket. So help us out. It's a small little fee. It's $25 a year. You become a member and you get a bunch of benefits for that. And probably the best benefit is guys like Gary can continue to go up to Tallahassee and keep fighting for your rights for cannabis legalized.
You'll notice that we are not wearing Yes on 3 shirts. Somebody pays for those. We don't. So we're going to wear the shirts that we paid for.
Yeah.
It's
on 3
it's to have not
some shirts our way. You know what I mean?
Regardless of your own opinion, you don't want to have the appearance of being a paid as a paid promoter for anything. So we don't do that. Bottom line is we're here for you. We believe in patience over profits. Sorry, guys, you've already got enough profit. I think you'll be able to live on very well what you already have. And we're trying to fix the market for the people here in the state of Florida. And we hope you'll join us. And with that, I think it's time for us to say a bit adieu. Best of luck to Chris and his baby over in